Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, got some current game for you, whatnot. And a lot of people are asking Diversified Game, especially when we've expanded to the video parts. We've done this for over a year, and I say we because in the beginning, there were three. Now, that was me before my hair fully locked. That was Tyson. That's Tyson. That's AL. And people say, hey, I thought there were three heads on there. What happened? So this is how Diversified Game started. I would always say, hey, I want to give you the game. I want to give you the game. And for years, I wanted all my PR folks that I talked to, and I've had conversations with them on my Kellen Kash YouTube and Kellen Kash podcast for the work break conversations. And I wanted to just our conversations personally because we're friends, family. I said, this should be out. This is game. This is a good game. So one day, Google sent me something for a client, or clients, I should say, and said, hey, there's these grants, for podcasts. I've had clients who've podcast for years, didn't make a dime off of it. So we've started doing conferences, and I had clients say, okay, I want to get into podcasting, and Anchor.fm really changed the game. But it was Tyson who I was talking to, and he's like, well, I'll write up the grant. So he started writing for the Google grant. We didn't get the grant, but he said something. He said, Kellen, like you've been saying, we don't need outside money. We don't need the money to do this. I'm going to create these things. He created all these imageries, the website, the first website. I've had to redo it since, but let me not jump ahead of the story. So we had this podcast, and I love to book interviews. That's what I do. A lot of times for my clients, I love booking interviews, whether I book all the interviews on Diversified Game because that's just what I do. So we started off, a few months strong. What I did not know all the way as the OG, I had an inkling, but I did not know that Tyson and AL, who are business partners for their company, were having friction, and things started going good. Sometimes, there'd be conversations. I don't know if this one is as dedicated as this one and that. I don't know anything about that. I said, I'm going to show up. When you guys show up, you show up. I'm going to book these guests, or when we're talking, we're going to do our thing. Things started off great. Tyson then decided to run for mayor in his city. He said he did that because I had told him years ago, his city's so small, I think he could win, which I did think he could win if the proper steps were taken. He decided to run, and of course you get busy when you're running for mayor, especially when you don't have money and you're trying to buy a house at the same time. It was premature, but that part I wasn't asked on. So people got to run their own race, and I'll be there to support as much as I can, and I did. While running for mayor, he was MIA, but not saying I'm MIA, but that's why we have three people, because if you're not there, the three amigos, other amigos, dos amigos can handle it. And that was working fine until he never showed back up, and he had actually started another podcast, and then even had to stop that one. And, I talked to him through that, and he was, just trying to get his mind right after losing the mayor race, and, going through that and trying to stay afloat. I'm not going to tell all the man's business at all, but just life. And that's fine, if you don't want to come back, but you should always be clear. If you say you're going to do something, you should do it. Then AL and Tyson had some personal issue in their business. Won't go all the way into that because they need to have that conversation still to this day about that. There were disagreements. AL took over, said, hey, if I can do the podcast, but I don't, want to do this with Tyson till he has a conversation with me. They've never had that conversation. So we've been doing this, AL and I, we were pushing the podcast and everything was great. And suddenly AL has disappeared. I don't have a answered phone. He hasn't updated anything on social media. I really pray him and his family are doing well. I text his mother, she did send me a reply, but did not answer any of the questions that I had regarding him or his safety and well-being. So I don't know what's up with AL. All I know is, we started off as the three amigos, brothers, in doing this podcast, and everyone has a priority. And that's fine that people don't want to do this because, again, Tyson, I remember when he told me, he said, we're going to write this podcast around you because this is what you do. And I'm like, well, it's about us. But that is how business goes. And sometimes people aren't dedicated like you're dedicated. They don't mess with you like you mess with them. And, that's a fine thing. It's not a hurt feelings if they were to say, hey, man, I messed up. But what we need on any project that I am, clear lines and boundaries, because the relationship cannot be one-sided. You can't have a relationship where I'm calling you. Think about that. I'm calling you, but you're not calling me. And it seems like it's a burden. And that let that be a message, no matter what the relationship is, because people need to know that you are dedicated, that you will do what you'll say. A lot of times when you won't do what you say in one thing, you won't do it in everything. I have a saying where I say, what you do in one thing, you do it in everything. And so that's the type of dedication that you need, at least to do business with me. That wishy-washy stuff, which with Tyson I would joke and I'd be like, man, that's that Springfield stuff. Because in Springfield, Massachusetts, I saw a lot of talent, but I saw a lot of folks not willing to take the steps, can't deal with the delayed gratification, want the instant right then, right there. And there's a cost to trying to do that. There's a cost to not taking the steps. There's a cost to not having mentorship. There's a cost to not having a team and just being on your own. Always have a team. And these guys, we were part of a team. But at the same time, team members can be substituted all day. I know I've done this for almost 20 years of getting people to levels that they won't see themselves. And that's why we charge the premium that we charge. And, it is what it is. People don't, when they see you vacationing on the social media, on maybe my personal Instagram, they say, wow, you're so lucky. I say, no, you don't see the work that goes into it. There's no luck in here. This is hard work. This is when you're asleep, we're working type work and type drive. But that's how Diversified Game started, what happened in the middle. And you might see other host come on here. For all I know, you can see them come back. That could be possible. We have to have a conversation about expectations and disappearing. Like I said, I really hope AL is good because he's like nothing on social media and he's an introvert anyway. And it's like, that just wasn't, in his character. But people go through real life and you have to understand that. But I got to keep on pushing. I got to keep on pushing because this is part of the purpose for me. I got to keep on knocking these interviews out and giving you the game, because this business game that you're getting from best-selling authors, business game you're getting from YouTubers that, have hundreds of millions of views, and how you can, people are telling me, man, I can start a business off this. I never knew this was a business, because a lot of folks, even if you're an entrepreneur, a lot of times I find people not doing what they want to do, or they're like a one-trick pony. We're showing you how to have 7 streams of income. And so when you see that life, wherever we're traveling, because sometimes we'll travel, every other week and just go. And people say, how do you do that with kids? It's really easy. I'll do another episode on that. Let me know. But there is never any hate. There is never any, oh man, I'm doing this all by myself on the grind. I just replace the team members. You know, okay, one person did this, find someone else to do that, and that's fine. And I've had Rich in my corner who handles a lot of graphics for me and a lot of different things, editing and just ideas. I always tell people, if not for Rich Boy, um, a lot of what I do would not have even come to pass, because a lot of it was his idea. A lot of it was his work. When I'd be in South Africa or Belgium or something, it was Rich doing the editing, back when we had Too Hot TV and Too Hot Radio and Too Hot Magazine and all that. And we've always kept that relationship and understand how each other work and appreciate how each other work. But there's been times Rich has had to hit the road and go do shows and things, and but he's been there. But if I have to switch out and say, okay, Rich, you got to live that part of your life, and I got to keep doing what I'm doing, you make do, and it's never any love lost. When people get, oh, forget that person. I have clients that they left in a way where all they have to do is apologize. But I am not going to put up with divas or devos in my life, and because that's not the energy that I give. Everybody is important. We took the pyramid, that hierarchy, and we flipped it upside down. It's about the person on the ground and make them at the top, because we're only as strong as they say is the weakest link, but there are no weak links. We're only as strong as, the rookie or that one who's struggling, because this is a real family over here. You just don't get in this and be next to me and going, to different places and conferences if you choose, because not everybody likes to do that. But if you do, or if I invite you into the La Familia, it's family for real. And sometimes family has to depart, but I'm going to always say what I need to say. And people know that. I'm going to say what I need to say, no matter what you feel about it. That's your feelings. I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but the truth is the truth. And we only have so many limited days. And because I have worked hard to be able to pay my own bills like every adult should, right? And I'm not necessarily asking anybody for anything. I don't even sell anything. People come to me and ask for my help. I don't market our services. I haven't had to do that in years. I don't have to do that. I say no more than anything. There's no one who can say, that if they help me out in life, that we didn't go back and help them and give them something, and I've had help, please believe it. But any loans that I've taken, I've paid back. And so when I go on a trip, I don't have to worry about who I might have screwed over, because we don't screw people over. And we don't have, big venture capital or anything like that backing us up. It's straight, just hard work. There was nobody, no golden hand that said, hey, put this, put that. I went to school and ate rice and grits and with sugar. I didn't have, that need and that desire to call home and start begging somebody for some money. Actually, I think I might have did that, and I was told, hey, it's going to be a loan, or, we don't have it, because you got to grow up at some point, and you can't be on the titty of somebody else your whole life. And so I'm a grown man who has to say what I have to say. And since I live in my own house and drive my own car, that I don't have to pander to anyone, because no one can dangle, oh, remember when? Because if you did do anything, money, you were paid back. So, it's the bank can't say, hey, Kellen, you owe us this, and that. But I just wanted to give you guys a little game on that, not to go on a whole tangent, but we want to keep giving you the game.